you guys are all doing very well. Okay. I hope you guys are all doing very well. Oh, lovely. Thank you, Emo. Good afternoon. Let me know that you can hear me. Go into the chat box. Say hi to me. Say hi to somebody else. You've probably not sent, Vivian has probably not sent Ifeanyi a message. Victor has probably not sent Nnamdi a message. So just say hi, like, hi, Victor, hi. Say hi to each other. That's basically what I'm saying. Don't just say good afternoon generally. Like, say hi specifically. No, not general, not to everybody. Say to a specific person. Yes, still in the chat box. Say to a specific person. Lovely, lovely. Joseph, say to another person. Don't say to someone you already probably have a personal relationship with. Don't just say hi to someone you probably have a personal relationship with. Say hi just randomly. Vivian and Joseph, say hi to someone else. Say hi to somebody else. Amazing, amazing. Okay. Nice. Oh, thank you very much, Nnamdi. Hi, Nnamdi. How are you doing? I hope everybody's good. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 14th of June. So now I think I can put my camera on now. Okay, good. Yes, to an extent I can be seen, even though it seems dark in some areas. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you guys are doing very well. How was the weekend? Yesterday was supposed to be public holiday, but I know we still had sessions yesterday. So hope everybody's fine. Victor, say nobody say hi to him. Please, all of you should say hi to Victor. Victor, who did you say hi to that did not reply? Please, people should say hi to Victor. Say hi to Victor. Thank you very much, Vivian. So guys, once again, welcome to today's session. And last 2 weeks and last week, we had our conversations around decision making. And as we always do when we're starting a new module, it's usually just introductory. So today's session is going to be an introductory session. I'll tell you guys what we'll be talking about today in a few seconds, right? But I want one or two persons to just share with the general house, what did you learn within the last 2 weeks about decision making? How has it influenced your decision making in any way? And I want to hear. So feel free to unmute your audio and share with the general house. Who is going first? Is there anybody raising their hand? Who is going first? So what okay, no, I don't want to assume that. So let me be patient. Who is going to go first? Who's going to share with us? Who is going to share with us what did you learn over the last 2 weeks, and how did it in any way influence your decision-making skills, or how did it influence probably a decision you've made before, and then having reviewed that decision, you're like, okay, no, I think I should make a different decision. So someone should share with us, please. The floor is open. 30 seconds to 1 minute, you can share. The floor is open. If you want to share, please raise your hand or post it in the chat box so we know you want to share, and then give you the opportunity. Who is going first? Who's going first? I can't see any hands. Can you guys hear me? Please, if you can hear me, let me know in the chat box. Let me be sure that. Can you guys hear me? Oh, it seems you guys are not hearing me. That means there's a problem. It's my network or something. You guys can hear me then. I was almost going to doubt the strength of my network. So why is nobody saying anything? Someone should raise a hand. I don't want to assume that nobody here has learned anything in the last 2 weeks from the HCL sessions. For the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about decision making. So if you can hear me, at least tell me something. Oh, this is what I learned. This is what I thought before. This is what I now know. This is how it has influenced the decision I've made. Very simple. Okay, I can see a hand. I need to see another hand. I can see one hand. I need another hand. I need another hand. I can still see only one hand. So it seems there's a subtle message that is being sent across to me. There's a subtle message that is being sent across to me, and I'm receiving that as feedback. There's a subtle message that is being sent across, and I'm receiving that as feedback. So it's meaning different things. Any of what I said in the last 2 weeks, or you guys did not learn anything from what I shared within the last 2 weeks, or you guys did not apply what I said, or you didn't see any area of your life where you could apply decision making. So that I'm communicating the feedback I'm receiving. All right. Thank you, guys. So we have Joseph. Joseph, go on. Please share with us. Joseph, please share with us. Unmute your mic. Go on, Joseph. I've helped you unmute. You can go on.
Okay. Good afternoon, Jose. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay. So with the decision-making module we've had over the past 2 weeks, what stood out for me was alternatives in decision-making. So how I applied that is, especially from the example we had from a class last week where you opened my mind up to the fact that there can be other alternatives to consider when trying to make a decision. So that is like the first thing that pops up now when I have to make a decision. I'm like, okay, is there another way this can go? Is there something else I can do to make it better, faster, more effective? And then I'm more open to considering alternatives now. So that's like what I've taken away and I've applied.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you. Ifeanyi wants to say something, so I think Joseph can mute now. Okay, yes, thank you. Ifeanyi, go on.
All right, good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, Ifeanyi.
Yeah, for what was taught in terms of the decision making, so many things I actually learned, but the truth, I wouldn't put any of it into my physical practice yet. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't do that. I got copy, as in the one that got me very well was the SWOT analysis, where we talked about having to strategize to get, before you can actually take a decision on a particular something using the SWOT analysis, you have to work on the strength of what you want to do, the weakness of what you want to do, the opportunities that it is going to come out with, and then the threats. I think I actually love that SWOT analysis because it's something that can, when you put it into practice, it helps you to have a critical, you have to be careful before you can be able to take any decision using that analysis. So I think I learned something from that, but although I've not put it into practice yet. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. It's all right. Thank you very much. You can put your hand down now. You can unmute. You can. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. So guys, I want us all to know that it's very, very important that we show that we are learning. It's very important that we show that we are learning. There's nobody here who is in secondary school, right? And what I mean by that is, it was probably when we're in secondary school that we will be afraid to say, okay, what if I say something and then it's the wrong thing? What if I ask a question and it is the wrong question? At this present stage of our lives, I think every day we get to learn. It's very important that we are vulnerable enough to open ourselves to learning, right? And one way that happens is, there's a saying that you can't say you've learned something if you cannot communicate that thing to other people, right? So when before a session starts and I come to say, oh, what did you learn last class, or what did you learn last week, or what did you learn last 2 weeks? It's not because I want to judge and know, okay, this person says everything word for word, or, oh, this person missed this particular statement. What's important for me is, am I teaching? Are you receiving? Are you learning? And the proof of you learning is that you can communicate back to me something that I said that has caused a transformation in your life because of the action that you've taken, or the action you intend to take. So for example, if I just talked about SWOT analysis, that's something that is in his consciousness. Do you understand? It's something that is in his consciousness. It's not just something that he wrote down. So when I say, let me hear what you guys have to say, what I expect is that I should be the one saying, no. You talk, no, you don't talk. Do you understand? Is that simple? Is that simple? This is a platform. It's a platform. It's not a school where you're being judged, you'll be caned, or you'll be expelled, or something like that. It's a platform. Just from accepting the opportunity to share what I've learned as a participant, for example, just accepting the opportunity to share what I've learned, in a way, it builds my confidence, right? In a way, it helps me to, so I don't want to beat around this bush too much, but please, going forward, if I ask, did you learn anything in the last session? Please, I need to see your hands and you need to say something, right? If you understood any of what I just said, please go into the chat box and put a yes. Let me know. Okay. And this little seeming drama that just happened is quite funny, because in a way it ties into what we are going to be studying this week and next week. In a way, it ties into the conversation that I'm trying to start today. And as subtle as it may be, it holds a lot of weight. It holds a lot of meaning, as it should, right? Every day we have the opportunity to sell our ideas to people. Every day we have the opportunity, we have an opportunity to change our mental states, our knowledge states, or to change the knowledge and mental state of other people. Every day we have an opportunity to change our actions or influence the actions of other people. And one very critical way that happens. Okay, and when I'm saying this, I'm saying like in whatever environment we find ourselves, whether it's in the family, whether it's in the office, maybe it's, for example, just between me and Ifeanyi, or even as a platform, or let's say as an organization in the place where, let's say we work together, in the place where we probably work, whether it's in the family, whether it's among a group of friends. Every day we have an opportunity to exchange ideas, to influence behavior, to cause action to be taken, which should not be taken lightly. This thing I just explained has the capacity to transform the behavior of a large group of people, right? Set them in a new direction towards a new goal, has the ability to influence the ideas that they accept and the ideas that they adopt, right? So over the next 2 weeks, that's from today, Thursday, next Tuesday, and the other Thursday, what we will be talking about is communication. We'll be talking about communication. If you heard what I said, let me know what I just said in the chat box. We'll be talking about what? Let me know in the chat box. We'll be talking about communication, 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 communication. So our conversations will play around the definition of what communication is, misconceptions about communication, its importance, mediums of communication, how we can apply communication to our everyday life. So as much as possible, I'll try my best to be as practical with the examples that I use, as I always do. And yeah, make sure that we have an enjoyable ride between today and next week. But when you hear of communication, what comes to your mind? Let me know in the chat box. If you could give a definition to communication, what comes to your mind when you hear communication? Let me know in the chat box. Today's session is just going to be introductory, so I'm going to go straight to the point, make sure that I highlight what's important, and then we can go about our daily business. Passing ideas and messages across, passing information. Okay, who else? Passing information across. Another person. Thank you, guys. Another person. Transmission of information. Exchanging of information. More, please. More answers. If I can get 1 or 2. So I've heard passing of information, transmission of information, giving of ideas or information. I've heard exchanging of information. Any other person? Sending or receiving information. Thank you very much. Sending or receiving information, ideas, data, whatever the case may be. So guys, permit me to go to share my screen so that I just highlight the things that we're doing today. Let me see where are my slides. Okay. Why am I not seeing my slides? Okay. See, I have to come and be looking down to find. Okay, so specifically today, we're going to be talking about introduction to communication skills, right? Look at what is communication, misconceptions about communication, and then importance of communication. Those are the three we're going to look at because of time, right? So you guys just shared very, very insightful things with me. Passage of communication, passage of information, passage of ideas, and all that, exchange of information, giving or receiving information. And as much as possible, it's important that this, just the definition of what communication is, misunderstanding this communication now connects into misunderstanding the application of what communication is. And we've seen this, like destroy a whole lot of things. We've seen this create and build a whole lot of things. So just like an overview, in the year 2016, a LinkedIn survey conducted in the USA stated that communication tops the list of the most sought after soft skills for, among employers, right? So that's one of the major things that they're looking for when they are bringing people on board, when they're bringing people to work within an organization. How well is this person able to communicate? How well is this person able to communicate? One of the reasons why many businesses have been able to excel and some businesses have failed is because of the ability or inability to communicate, right? Communicate amongst themselves and then also communicate with customers. So communication is something very, very important. That's why earlier I was saying you can use that to change a person's behavior using communication. For example, we have adverts, right? We have adverts. You come, you put on your television, you see an advert, for example, Indomie, my darling, Indomie, blah, 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 blah. The children are excited, blah, 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 blah. As a parent, somehow you now feel the need to buy what you just saw for your daughter or for your son. What has happened? They've used communication to change your behavior, right? And the list goes on. So we see within organizations, for example, a manager is having issue with his subordinates or with his with his subordinates really, and from time to time they get into loggerheads, and the subordinate just feels like, oh, I don't understand what I don't know why I'm not working perfectly with my direct head. When we search deeply, one of the things that we see is that there's been an interruption, right, in their method of communication or their process of communication or whatever the case may be. We also see this within relationships and families. You hear people saying, no matter what happens in your relationship, you guys should never stop communicating. If you've heard that, let me know in the chat box, because communication is something that holds relationship and all. If you've heard that, let me know in the chat box. So I'm saying that to just point to us how really important communication is, because it applies to different areas of our lives. So then let me give what seems like a definition that we can work with. What really is communication? And you see that it encapsulates some of the different things that we have said so far. Okay, I said here that communication is defined as the giving, receiving, exchanging of information, opinion, or ideas. And the message is completely understood by everybody involved. Communication, giving, receiving, exchange of information, opinions or ideas such a way that the message is completely understood by everybody involved. I'm not going to go into too many theories about communication, the social person principle of communication, principle of, no, I'm just going to be as relatable as practical as possible. Here, I also pointed out that it's a two-way process. So that's why, if you notice, when you guys are giving definitions, I was saying, you guys are saying passage, sharing, giving. It was when someone said exchange, I did like this. Because communication really is a two-way process. That is why, after a while, when I speak, I want to make sure that you're following or at least understanding what I'm saying. So I say, go into the chat box and type something, or someone should raise their hand and say something. Many times, communication comprises some elements, which are the sender. So let me use this as an example. The sender is me, right? There's a message that I'm passing across. There's a channel that's being used, which is this virtual channel, Zoom, projection, whatever the case may be. There is a receiver, which is you. Then there's need for feedback. That's why I'm asking from time to time, let me know if you're following and no. And then there's context. What's the context right now? We're learning about communication skills, right, in the CDE program. There'll be no communication in this regard. There's no communication if there is no me. If I'm not sending anything across, if there is no channel, okay, and all that. So if you, what did I say? Communication is defined as the giving, receiving, or exchange of information, ideas, or notes. It is a two-way process. And why I'm saying you should know this is because when we go to the next thing, which is misconception, we have about communication, you say, this is quite true, because I've seen this in many cases. So we have places within organizations where the manager, the CEO, or the boss, or the head of the family, or whatever the case may be, just comes and says, this is what we are going to do. This is what we should do. Bam, 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 bam. Do this, do that. And then the person is out. Or I don't know if you've been in that situation before. And then you come back later. What you said should be done wasn't done. Not necessarily because the person was stubborn, but because the person did not fully understand what you were saying. You just came and gave. You didn't give the person opportunity to give you back, to exchange information. If you've ever been in that situation, let me know in the chat box. Maybe your boss just came to the office, bam, bam, you guys are doing this, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this, and then goes away. And when the person comes back, the same way he left is the same way he came to meet everything. Let me know in the chat box if you've ever had that experience. If you've ever had that experience, great. If you've ever had the experience, it's because there was a breach in communication, which I'm going to connect to the next thing I want to say, which is some misconceptions we have about communications. There are some misconceptions we have about communications that if we can just improve in our personal life, in our everyday conversation with people, we'll actually see the benefits of communications. So some of the misconceptions we have about communication is that communication happens when messages are shared. That's a big misconception, that once messages are shared, then communication is happening. So I can just come in, you guys log in, I log in, and then I just talk. After 45 minutes, I say, thank you guys, have a nice day. And then in my head, I'm like, wow, I've communicated with these guys. No. That's why I use this example I just gave. When you go and then you just give this is what we should do, this is what we should do. Communication does not just happen when the message is shared. That's why I've heard someone say something like, The fact that you are talking to me does not mean you are communicating with me. The fact that you are talking with me does not mean, the fact that you are talking to me does not mean you are communicating with me. The fact that you are talking to your subordinates does not mean you are communicating with them. The fact that you are talking to your spouse does not mean you are communicating with your spouse, right? So communication doesn't just happen when we are sharing a message. Another thing is, another misconception people have is, if people don't agree with me, then they misunderstood me. If people don't agree with me, then they misunderstood me. Or let me use that here. If people don't agree with you, then they misunderstood you. It may not necessarily be the case, right? It could just be that you do not communicate well. That's why one of the things I said earlier is one of the goals of communication is that action is taken. You get? So if I don't agree with you, it doesn't necessarily mean that I misunderstood you. It could be that I understood you, but then I probably have a different opinion, right? Or it could be that you do not communicate in the best way possible for me to understand. I don't know if, okay, many of us now use very, very advanced phone, but if this has ever happened to you, let me know in the chat box. When I explain, put a yes in the chat box if this has ever happened to you. You have an advanced phone, an iPhone, a Samsung, whatever the case may be. And for example, you also have a touchlight phone. Have you ever received messages in your touchlight phone? I know everybody here at one point in time used a touchlight phone, apart from maybe the Gen Zs that came when things were really advanced. If you ever had a touchlight phone, was there ever a situation where someone sent you a message and the message appeared as or the person someone sent a smiley and you just saw comma apostrophe X comma Y? That ever happened to you? Let me know in the chat box. Great. What that just basically meant is someone was sending a message to you, which your medium of accepting that message did not have the capacity to handle it, right? So in that part, no matter how important that person may have, no matter how important the message is, there is no way you can give the person a sensible reply because communication, as it were, did not happen in that situation. Another misconception we have, and that unfortunately that we've accepted over time, is that one message or one message style fits all scenarios. One message or one message style fits all scenarios. So what I mean by that is, if you will notice, we've had different sessions. In the different sessions we've had, my communication styles have been different. I don't know if you've paid attention to it. There are some sessions where there's something I'm trying to pass across, and I'm not speaking like this. We probably have a breakout session, or we have a games activity, or we have a question and answer, session. What I was just trying to do basically is use the most fitting message style to pass that message across. So a misconception we have about communication is that, okay, this is how communication should be done, and this is, so that's why, for example, we go to school and someone just comes to stand in front of the board, talks to us, and at the end of the day says thank you, and the person is out. Doesn't open an opportunity for us to ask questions, doesn't use things that are relatable, doesn't use game, doesn't use things that involve or engage us. One message or one message style does not fit all scenarios. You have to be able to think and consider what could be the best fits in this particular scenario. So in a way, when it comes to communication, you have to also be really flexible. Flexible, considering different things. For example, who is the audience I'm speaking with? Obviously, if this is something I'm probably doing with kids, I'm trying to communicate some things with kids, I won't be as serious as I am right now. So you're considering the audience. Who am I going to be communicating with? You're considering the message you're trying to pass. You're also considering what you want them to do with the message you're trying to pass. Right? Another misconception we have about communication is that the message is in the words. So if I come, I just tell you what to do. Since you can hear me, then I'm communicating. Have you guys heard something about body language? Have you ever heard anything about body language? Have you heard anything about body language? Also, do you guys know that as this session is presently going on, if for some reason I decided to try to see how I could probably, if I could speak like a little differently from how I was speaking earlier, it could also have an effect on how much you understand any of what I'm trying to say. But if for any reason I just say, okay, no, this is what I'm trying to say. Today we're going to learn about communication skills, and I will just come out and I'm giving you the different points of everything that even with the examples that I'm trying to share to you, I'm giving you the examples. Do you know that you will not just be paying attention to only my words, you also be paying attention to things like my tonality, you'll be paying attention to things like my behavior. Okay, good. Do you see? Someone said talking slowly. I can see someone's emoji like, okay, what's happening? Hope dog did not bite this facilitator today. So communication and the message is not just in the words. Communication and the message is not just in the words. So this is something that we usually talk about when there's a body of knowledge which is called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, right? In neuro-linguistic programming, we say that communication as a whole is broken into three parts. Communication as a whole is broken into three parts: the words, your tonality, and your body language. Your words, tonality, and body language. What are the three things I said? Let me see them in the chat box. Your words, Can you guys see? Was there communication just now? Was there communication? Was there communication? I'm asking. With what just happened just now, when I muted my mic and I kept talking. Was there communication? Sorry, guys. Welcome back again. You guys lost me there. Well, welcome back. So I said tonality, the words, and then body language. 7% accounts for the words. Tonality accounts for 38%. And a whooping 45% accounts for body language. Accounts for body language. And the amazing thing is this applies to different forms of communication, be it this interpersonal communication, be it even written or communication in form of multimedia. Every form of communication has those three things. Has the words, it has its tonality, it has its body language. That's why you can be chatting with somebody, and from your chat, you will feel that this person is Is that possible? Let me know in the chat box. Is that possible that you can be chatting with somebody and you know that this person is not happy with me?